Part 2 of the Business Untangled on 107 FM with myself, Dave Petersen, and Shaping Business with Bela from the Roo Group. Look, let's talk then with regards to, you're saying clients coming to you with either ideas or with problems. How are you then turning them into the strategy?
So when I meet clients for the first time, I sort of ask them a lot of questions about what their values are, what their brand is, what they want their brand to look like, what they feel like their problems are. Do they know where their brand is going to be in 5 years? If they do, what does it look like getting there? And then I sort of take all the different pieces that they've thrown out that are just sort of fragmented little bits at the moment, and then pull them together and put them into a strategic move, like a chessboard really. So each move then leads on to the next move and then leads on to the next move that eventually then leads to a win, which is sort of how we put together the strategies for everything that we do with clients at Roo Group. It's a lot of it is the business owners have got the ideas, they know what they want to do, they know where their business is going to be, and they know what that looks like, but they just don't know the steps that they need to take to get there because they've just never done it before.
Is it reassuring then the gaps in between? You know, is that what you're saying? What are the most common gaps or the understanding of the business structure? What's missing for these entrepreneurs or obviously, you know, large scale businesses?
I think a lot of it is just putting a plan in place. So when I speak to people, they know that in 5 years' time they want to be earning this amount of money. They want to have employed 5 more people. They want to know, they know what their business is going to look like in the online space. They know who their clients are and their bigger clients that they want to work with, but they just don't know what the steps are to get there. They don't know who they need to talk to. They don't know what processes they need to put in place. They don't know how much they need to earn to be and then be able to employ someone. And a lot of the stuff that I do is pulling those ideas into place and then putting them onto the stepping stones and then helping them bridge the stones together.
I something that came to me there was actually you go in and pick apart, you know, delve into the issues that might be at play. I know for myself, like, I'm awful at setting goals. I just find that really difficult to do. Saying actually 5 years time this, I'm just like, I'll just do this. I'll just do something. So I can certainly understand and resonate with that.
Yeah, and sometimes it's having really difficult conversations with people and saying, if you want to be here in 2 years' time as a business, you can't do this and you can't continue doing that if you're not doing this as well. Like, that's just not going to work because it's just not sustainable.
I can imagine it'd be really hard to extract that from people because we've spoken about it. When you're setting up your company, it's your baby, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's what you do day in, day out, sleepless nights, all of them things, just to then have somebody like yourself come in to ask these deep, meaningful questions. You know, how do you face that?
I mean, like I say, sometimes it can be really difficult, but I think people, I know that they want the help because they've invited me into their business for a start. I know that they want to listen to me because they've tried everything that they can by themselves and they've then reached out again. So, like, it is difficult to have the conversation, but I always say to people, I'm not here to tell you that what you're doing is wrong. I'm here to help you get on a better track and streamline your processes, is make sure that you're doing the things that you're supposed to be doing. If you're not following up on people, why? If you've got clients that are leaving, why? What's going on here that's not working for you to not be able to get to where you want to be? And how do we fix that, change that, and then move on with that?
Just putting it out there, do you think actually a lot of people are turning to AI to give them all the answers?
Absolutely. And I think AI is an amazing tool, but it is a tool. It's not something that you can just throw a load of stuff in and then just use everything that it gives you. It's something that you need to use to aid ideas, to aid things that you're already doing yourself. And a lot of the stuff that I see that people have done themselves is, like I said, it's a tool, it's great, but is it talking like you? Is it behaving like you? Is it doing things that you would do? No, because it's not you. So you can tell an AI tool to do 3 or 4 different things, but it still needs your input to be able to do it as you. And I think people forget that you are your own superpower. So no one is you. So regardless of what business you're in, what sector you're in, where you want to go, there can be other people that do the same sort of thing as you, but no one is you.
Do you think that's a really important thing then? So when you're coming into the business, you're making sure it does stay as them, but you're just that, assistance, that guidance in the background.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning of the pod, I love to see people win, and if I can be part of that process, I'll clap louder for the people than I will do for myself, because I thrive off it. I thrive off helping people and putting people on the right path.
Yeah. That leads really, good into the next kind of questions that I want to discuss, is because you're very active. Obviously, you've got a social media presence in that, from obviously visual merchandising. You've been in and around networking groups with the corporate background. Talk us a little bit more about that and how you see that at play with regards to growing and, supporting your business as well as other people that you help.
So I wouldn't have Roo Group if it wasn't for the connections that I've got. And I say that because I spent 10 years in the corporate sector marketing that firm, but also marketing myself. And when the redundancy happened and I didn't really know what to do, it was actually 3 people. I had messages from 3 people from 2 separate connecting business groups that I go to that reached out and said, "You've not been at the group this week. Is everything okay?" And that obviously then led to the conversation of, I've been made redundant. I don't know what to do. This is what the situation sort of is. And those connections actually turned out to be my first 3 clients. But if I'd have not had the connections within the local community, and whether that's from the work that I do with Hull Young Professionals as vice chair of the board, or the brand ambassador work that I do for Business Culture, I do the trusteeship for Special Stars Foundation. If I didn't have all of these things that I did within the community, those conversations would never have happened. So without the connections, Roo would never have happened. And that's why I say to all my clients, who you're connected with and the things that you do for other people will be the stepping stones and the foundations for your own business, because I would never have been able to do what I'm doing now if it wasn't for those people.
Certainly assists that leap of faith.
Yeah.
It is a daunting thing, being self-employed, never mind obviously the position that you was in, after redundancy. And let's just talk a little bit more. I thank you very much for coming on this show. I know you're a little bit nervous about it, what to expect. But also, roll back a couple of weeks ago, you was on a stage speaking. How did that go, and how did that come about?
I was actually supposed to do the event when I was in the corporate firm. So it was an event at C4DI with Bob Spence. And obviously when all of this happened, I messaged him and said, "Look, I can't do the event now because I'm not in corporate." Because I initially thought that they wanted me to do the event as corporate. And he was like, "No, they wanted to do it as you because you've got such a checkered past. And everything that you've done amazingly well at. We want you to talk about that." So standing up in front of people that I know and worked with in corporate, and then some of them which were my clients at the time, my entire presentation was based around business development, connections within the community, and the transferable skills that you have moving from one job role to another, and how you always take everything that you learn, even if it's in a job that you don't like, into the next role that you then take yourself into. And I was so nervous because it's the first time I've ever spoken as Bela from Roo Group rather than Bela from somewhere else. But it was received really, really well. And I had a lot of messages on LinkedIn, a lot of people that commented on my LinkedIn post about it saying, "You're amazing. We didn't realize that you'd done all of these different things and you've got all this different experience, and how that's amazing. How did you get into that? How did you do that?" So as much as I was super nervous about it and I wasn't really sure whether it was going to be right for me because it was talking about me for the first time, it was probably something that really put Roo in good stead, especially back within the business community. It sort of springboarded me into a new platform, really.
The untold story, certainly assisted then and helped you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that there's a hell of a journey for you to obviously go on as part of being self-employed, running your own business in probably a sector that you're very passionate about. You can see
Absolutely,
that and hear that. I'm sure that certainly comes across. So do you think, as part of the growth, then you can really assist, the local ecosystem of, young entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I think because of the knowledge that I've got, and it's not just the knowledge of the things that I do within the business to help people grow their own businesses. I like to connect people and put people together. So if someone says, oh, I'm really looking for something that is in this sector and I really want to be able to do this, I'll think, who do I know that can help with that? And then I'll connect them together as well. So I've sort of become a bit of a catalyst for people to sort of like, they'll people message me and say, oh, I really want to get into this sector. Do you know anyone that could help and advise me? And so I've sort of like moved into that as well, where I'm pulling people together, or I'm inviting people for lunch and I'm saying, I'm going for lunch. Do you want to come with me? I'm going to sit with this person, this person, this person. I think they'd be great for you to listen to, or great for you to talk to. So a lot of the stuff that I'm also doing is, again, back to connection within the community, back to putting people together that I think could work really well together.
Yeah, it certainly then assists them, wouldn't it? I always say sitting in that room and feeling uncomfortable for anybody is that next step. Mm-hmm. It's understanding how they got to where they are. So, if you can do that for young entrepreneurs and people wanting to step into work, as well as the really broad view of many companies in different sectors, I think that's definitely powerful. But I think networking, it sometimes feels quite, transactional. So how have you kind of overcome that, over years, obviously, I imagine, but how do you make it become more human? Because I often see people just, touting with cards and etc. But you seem to have hit the nail on the head. What's the secret there?
For me, when I first meet someone, I want to know who you are and what you do, but I don't want to do business with you straight away. Who meets somebody the first time and then all of a sudden does business with them? I want to make the connection with them. I want to know about you. I want to know about what makes you tick. I want to know what your passions are. I want to know what you do on a weekend with your kids. Like, do I know anyone else that does that on the weekend with their kids? And I think people, when you go into a room and you just hand out business cards, or you just say, oh, my name's so-and-so and this is what I do, you should buy from me, because you're not making the connection with people. And I think because I worked in accounting for so long, there's hundreds of accountants. We all do roughly the same sort of thing. The only real difference is price and service, really. So I think I learned very early on, unless someone's had a bad experience with something or they're looking for something, they're probably not going to buy from you right there and then. So the important thing is to make the relationship and be around and available. And then when they have a problem or they need something, because you're there, they'll then look to you.
Yeah. No, again, it just really emphasizes that passion on, connecting people. And doing it at a real human level. You say you go into the businesses and it's the hand-holding process, but it's hands-on. You're working with them to deliver something. And I think that is really important. And I just want to kind of go then and tick into your values. Obviously, the style and approach, you're saying it's not, a traditional business development kind of stance, and you wanting to get into there. So what's kind of created them values for you? And, if you want to share, then please do.
I think for me, I stand really firm on doing what you say you're going to do. I've seen so many times in business and so many times with people that I've met, they say they're going to do something, but they don't do it. They overpromise and they underdeliver. And that's one of my keystone values. If I say I'm going to do it, I'll do it. No matter what it is. If I make that promise to somebody, I will do it. And I expect people to have the same sort of morals as me along that line as well. So if you say you're going to do something, I expect you to do it, and I will hold you accountable for that.
Accountable is key, isn't it? Especially in a role of being self-employed, or even in a high level job role. You've got to be accountable. You've got to be approachable too. And I think them things and them values should certainly stay with you, and keep working on. So I think that's a wrap of part 2, and it's a great insight of how people can just work with yourself, but also how they can kind of try to shape their business, use the local networking infrastructure, and reach out to people like yourself.